Item F, are we shining on this OFDDA thing?
Yep.
We just tabled it to now, so we just say, maybe in the future. Anybody have any comments other than Risa, because we know.
You met today with him? At what?
Met today with,
Anybody about the...
no, Steve and I met today with the insurance company.
Right.
That
Okay.
wasn't OFDDA.
No, I'm sorry. Okay. No, this is the other one with General, correct?
This is General Ingram's group, the Oregon Fire District Directors Association. Let's just leave this open, because Jerry and I had a conversation about it too, because we've got 3 organizations that are proposed as far as being joinable, if that's the correct word. You got the OFDDA, and then you've got the Oregon Special Districts, and then you've got the, what's the other one? The Oregon Office Administrator or something or other.
Yeah, OA.
Anyway, we'll just put this one on hold until we have interest in doing one or the other, because one of the insurance policies requires us to join one if we choose that insurance policy.
Okay.
And that's what Steve and I did today.
Okay.
If I could just mention, one of the things that I suggested is until our next meeting, I could do some research on a comparison of benefits between the different organizations to see if it is worthwhile to join any of them or one versus another.
I think it's a good idea. Everybody agree? Is that all right with him for him to do that?
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, cool. Item G, January newsletter content and task assignments. We talked about having the newsletter to coincide with the year-end report that Steve's going to do January sometime, and to do that also in conjunction with a community meeting. So I'm just, we just need to step that up because January is like 20 days away. So,
I said.
let's share.
No. Are you planning on having the meeting in January? Or
I'm not planning on doing anything. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, but when...
I plan on having my Christmas vacation.
Wait. Risa has suggested that we all take a break from anything we're doing until the first of the year is over.
Yes.
But the point still is that we've talked about having this, and we can't put that off if we're going to do it. If we're going to put this off until February, then we can't. But that doesn't coordinate with what Steve has to do for the year end.
How long is your report, Steve?
Well, I'm going to do that. I don't know yet. I have what the bylaw says I have to do, and I talked with Jerry yesterday. He gave me some suggestions that most of it fits right into what the bylaws have to do, but there's some other, a couple extra projections and that kind of stuff, which makes a lot of sense.
So when do you think you're going to do that?
I'm going to try to have that done by January 1st. So
By
I don't know
January 1st.
who's
Wow.
going to publish that. I mean, I'm going to have to give it to one of you guys, and then we're going to talk about it at the January meeting, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay. So
What date is our January meeting? We got a calendar?
Well, the 6th, 7th, it would have to
It's
be...
the 8th, I believe. It's the
No.
8th, January 8th.
January 7th?
8th.
8th.
Because the first is the first.
January 8th.
So,
Yeah, because I know, because the news review got back to me about publishing it, so.
So that gives us another additional 4 weeks in January that we're gonna get it mailed. We're gonna have to think about somewhere in the week of the 19th, I would say.
Well, do we have a date that we want it done by? Because that makes a difference as to.
The only note that I had is in our conversation before, everybody had said we needed to do it by the last weekend in January. That seemed to be the consensus.
Yeah.
So, which we could do relatively easily if our meeting is on the 8th. That gives us another 20 plus days.
Sure.
So shall we just discuss it on the 8th and get serious about it then? And then,
Well, everybody can bring ideas on the 8th. I mean, that's.
which is if we're going to get people to come to this thing, we got to have a reasonable notification, advertising, put it on the marquee, whatever we're going to do,
Right.
fireworks.
Okay.
so I have a digital copy of the report by the January meeting. Is that good for you? And get it to you before that. I want to be done by the end of the year, so I got a couple of days off.
Okay. Independent audit status. Have all you guys got a copy of this contract? Did everybody bring theirs? Anybody doesn't have one? Do you got one of these?
No.
Everybody's got one. Anybody in the audience wants one? Here's a couple extras. You got one, Ken? The situation here that we have before us is that we've discussed having an independent audit done on the financials. And the reason that we've discussed doing that has a couple of bases behind it. One is that we as a board are responsible for knowing where we begin. And as of today, we don't really know financially exactly where we begin. So the concept was to have an independent auditor come in, look over the books, look over whatever it is we can find that has good information on it, etc. And so we have met with a woman that does that sort of thing. Her name is Susan Shepard. She came very highly recommended, and we have before us a contract, a draft contract for her services. And what I thought I'd do is just read this so that everybody knows what's going on. Contractor Susan Shepard will be engaged by the Lookingglass Rural Fire Protection District to perform a review of historical financial statements while acknowledging that the contractor is not the auditor of the district's financial statements. Contractor will develop and review revenue and expenses for the fiscal years beginning with July 1st, 2005 to June 30th, 2006 through fiscal year 2012-2013. The contractor will primarily perform inquiry and analytical procedures to the material provided by the district to verify previously developed reports. The contractor's conclusion will be based on the contractor obtaining unlimited access to district's records. The contractor's report will include a description of the nature of their work to allow readers of the report to be able to understand the contractor's conclusion and recommendations. In review of financial statements, the contractor expresses a conclusion that is designed to enhance the degree of confidence regarding previous developed financial statements in accordance with applicable governmental financial reporting. To accomplish the above task, the district will provide access to all revenue and expense-related documents that the district is aware of, which includes but is not limited to deposit slips, deposit transfers from all sources, checks and or vouchers, petty cash records, bank statements, profit loss statements, audit reports, etc. Contractor will provide limited assurance primarily by performing inquiry and analytical procedures about whether the financial statements as a whole are accurately stating in all material respects appropriate and accurate information. The contractor will report on the financial statements as a whole and communicate contractor's information to the district. Contractor will keep board president informed of progress. Contractor's work will be completed within 60 days of receiving the required documents. If anything should arise that would lead the contractor to believe that this project may take longer, the board president will be notified immediately. Contractor's fee will not exceed $6,500. So that's the draft. She also provided a letter with this. I'll read this. My name is Susan Shepard, and I began working in the fire service in 2002 after 17 years experience in private industry as an office management for the J.R. Simplot Company. I'm the president of the Oregon Fire Service Office Administrators, which has a 10-member executive board, 4 committee chairs, and approximately 140 members. Before being elected as president, I served as treasurer for 3 years, where I developed a process and procedure manual. This was a result of much review, analysis, and correction adjustments to get their QuickBooks financials on track. My first job in the Forest Service was for Marion County Fire District Number 1, a large district where I had to basically self-teach myself the accounts payable receivable position. The person was retiring and left no, quote, how-to, unquote, notes for what she had done for 21 years. I worked with the auditor, handled the financials for all the departments, and the financials and record keeping of the grants, bonds, and levies. I currently work at Polk County Fire as the office administrator, supervise the office assistant, handle all and anything related to the financials and records, accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, budgets, banking, grants, levies, bonds, audit, retention, personal files, HR, insurance, board meetings, etc., etc. When I began this job, it was a volatile turnover, and everything had to be started anew. I worked with Chief Prince, who was chief at that time, now assistant chief of Hillsborough Fire, and we had to pull PERS, the deferred compensation accounts, payables, banking, payroll, etc., together to find a place to begin to rebuild. So in working with IRS, Oregon Department of Revenue, PERS, deferred compensation companies, Bureau of Labor, several banks, I was able to accomplish this. I have a lot of experience and I've learned a great deal from the School of Hard Knocks, which I believe only increases your skills. I've been very successful in handling this kind of work. Through my interaction with fire service and governmental organizations, I have numerous resources available to me personally. I am also out of the area, so totally unbiased. To recap, I will be reviewing the financials from fiscal year 05 to 06 through current, provide backup and explanation for expenses, revenue, grants, taxes, levies, and present it in an understandable format. At the end, I will have your financials up to date, and advantage is that you will not be paying a bookkeeper during this time. I am a very open and honest person and realize that you're putting a lot of trust in me. So if needed, I could provide confirmation of my statements from the Oregon Fire Chiefs President, the Oregon State Fire Marshal, the Oregon Fire District Directors President, Oregon Volunteer Association President, and the fire chiefs and boards that I've worked under. This isn't by any means meant as bragging, but just a basis for my credibility. I feel very confident that I possess the skills needed to perform the review of Lookingglass Fire financials, provide a solid foundation and guidance for the district to build on for the future. Through the networking of OFSOA, I have helped many districts with their financials, procedures, and policies along these same lines. Again, I would be more than willing to provide reference letters. Thank you, Susan. So, do we have any discussion, questions, comments?
I just want to point out, for reference, or in relation to other things, that there were other people, I believe, that you had gotten quotes from, and this was her quote for doing the work was significantly less than the others. Is that?
It was interesting. We had 3 quotes. They ranged from her quote up to a little over $15,000, and she was the highest recommended of the 3. So it was interesting. She was the lowest fee and the most highest recommended. So.
But she's not certified at all?
No, and she's not a CPA.
It's Oregon Special District, exactly what is the term for David Pennickett's group? who recommended
Oregon
her?
Fire Service Office Administrators, is that what you're asking for?
Yeah. And that's who recommended her.
No, she was recommended by Oregon Special Districts Association.
That's what I'm saying.
Was the
That
biggest
David.
recommendation.
Yeah, David,
Because of the fact that she's done this so many times before.
right. Well, we've had other CPAs do the books. We've had 3, in fact. And I'm not satisfied with what the CPAs came up with at all. I don't see where they resolved the issue. I don't see where they answered the questions. Because that's where I'm at anyway. So I don't think it made any difference as far as, saying you have to have a CPA to do it. We have, and I'm not satisfied.
Well, if I may, what we're looking for here is a solid foundation to go forward. We really don't care if what they find is relatively, that things are okay. It's just that it was done rather interestingly. And we're not looking for the smoking gun. We're not seeking out any criminal issues. We just have to know what we have. When you go through and add up all the numbers, they never add up the same depending on how you do it. And for us to go forward, our responsibility with what's entrusted to us, as well as the liabilities we've been informed of, makes it pretty necessary, in my opinion, that we have some form of a solid foundation to start from. So that's kind of where we are.
If I may, one of the things she does is she will take your books and she will organize them and simplify them so that you can start with a better framework, a better structure, an easier way of doing it for the future. That's one of the things she said she would do, so that she would try to unravel whatever mess she can unravel and then start a fresh, good, solid program for the books. And that we need.
Yeah, Bruce?
Now, is she gonna be able to tell you what, as far as the levy monies, where they need to be and all of that stuff, and that will be all,
That's what we're hoping for, yes.
that's what you need her to do, to tell you what you have and where it should be.
Right, that's
Okay.
correct. What we're really looking for right now is where did all the revenue come from and where did it go? It's just pretty simple as that. And the way that she's going to work is that she's going to begin with 2005, 2006, and at the end of that review, we'll decide whether to go to 2006, 2007. In all honesty, 2006, 2007 is where all the oddities begin. That's where when you look at the books, there are just things in there that do not make sense. And so we're going to start 2005, 2006 because that's when the levies were originally voted in. So it'll be a progression. If that one comes out with, let's just say that one comes out with no questions. We don't have any questions. We have to decide at that time, do we go forward? If that one comes out with numerous questions, then we have to decide whether to go forward. It's as simple as that.
My next
yes,
question would
Yvonne.
be is, doesn't that need to be something that's budgeted for?
Budgeted for?
Yeah, to spend that money, does it need to be budgeted?
Well, I think that we can probably find that budget in there somewhere. We also have the ability to abolish the entire equipment reserve account, put it in the general fund. So we're being asked by the Secretary of State's office to, in fact, come up with a plan on how that money is going to be spent. I think there are ways we can make this work. It's that important. Any other questions or comments? If not, then we need a motion. If we don't have a motion, we need to go to the next item.
I make a motion that we sign the contract and get this done.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to proceed with this contract. Any discussion? Other questions?
Can she add on that what she charges per year, if you guys are only gonna do 1 year or 2 year? Because when you sign this contract, it looks like 6,500 is what she could charge you.
She can, but it says it will not exceed. So we could put a clause in here that states it's done by year. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I'm just, yeah, that's what.
Well, it sounds like a reasonable deal. Anybody think that sounds like a good deal?
That's fine.
So I will put on here, charge by year if possible. We can figure a way to do that. Once it starts snowballing, that might not work as they get more and more years together in the end.
It's a starting point.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of proceeding with this contract, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Carries. Item I is a safe deposit box key situation. That is a done deal.
Oh, good.
We will be transferring all of the items from the safe deposit box at the credit union into the firebox that we have installed. And that whole issue of the key, missing key deal, the credit union just said that was okay. so we don't have to pay that fine.
And Steve never found the key?
No, I was involved in that. That was turned into me by Mr. Hatch. I put it in a safe place to keep it till we needed it. And I don't know where that safe
It
place
was
is.
so safe we couldn't find it.
I haven't been able to find it since. I apologize, and I'm glad they didn't charge us $100 because I don't have the money.
Yeah.
Well, we,
Steve, what that happens, all of us as we age.
I am.
You just hit it well.
so that now we will start doing, and we'll transfer that stuff. He's supposed to have that ready for pickup by this Friday.
Okay.
All the paperwork has been processed. He didn't, Jerry, when you went down and picked up the signature cards, did he say anything to you about the safe deposit box statement?
I didn't speak specifically with him. I spoke.
Oh, you just picked
busy.
yourself up?
There was somebody else there who gave me.
'Cause he told me if he had it ready, he was thinking about just giving it to you too at that time. So
We have the cards to sign tonight then?
I assume.
Yes.
Good. One more time.
That's on new business.
Yeah.
Okay, item J, equipment reserve account reorganization status. This is kind of a multi-tentacle thing. I would suggest that we put this on to hold as far as what we've already done, and just leave it at what we've done, which was we already voted on transferring the 112,000. And let's leave it at that and not go any farther until after Susan has at least had an initial look at the books. And this also kind of aligns with what you had suggested, Kent, about the treasurer's report and publishing it on the website, which we'll get to here in a second.
So has the 112,000 been transferred yet?
Not yet, but if we have voted on it and if everybody's in agreement, that document and paperwork is being processed and all we'll have to do is sign it and put it in place. So I'll pick that up on Friday also.
Did we vote on it, Bob? I don't recall. Seems like we were trying to figure out how much was involved.
I believe it was meeting before last. Wasn't that the October meeting that we did that? Oh no, here it is.
It's in this minutes.
It's in November's, Jerry asked, discussed it during approximately how much. It was, Kent moved to approve, George seconded, and it was passed.
How did the motion read?
It's in here. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. All set?
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about making a new account for that.
Yes, it was probably, if you remember down at the Community Credit Union, there are 6 complete accounts. Account 3 and 4 have never been used. So Brad was suggesting that it would be one of those two.
But
Numerically, it'll be one of those two.
at this time, though, I would think it wouldn't until Susan's seen all the accounts.
I didn't catch that, what?
I said I wouldn't want to put it into one of those at this time until Susan has had a chance to look at those accounts. If 3 and 4 were there, they were there for a reason.
But they've never been used as long as they've been in the credit union.
Okay, but I'm just saying, we talked about this, I would rather start a new account.
Want to do it as account 8? Since
She's not reviewing documents past the 2012 to 13 year, so I don't think it would affect what she's doing.
2000, she starts in 2005.
Right, but the last one she would finish with, according to the contract, she said would be reviewing 2012
Correct.
to 13, which is before the current year, so I don't
But
think
3
anything we
and
do
4
now.
were made years ago.
Yeah, they have, 3 and 4 have been in existence for as long as that
We
account's
don't
been
know
open.
why.
But they
Right, but if
never,
we're transferring money into one of those accounts now, it won't affect the documents that she's looking at on those accounts.
I would hope.
Yeah, that's-
She's not looking at the current year.
Well, I would
So
rather,
I don't see a problem with it.
well, I think it's just a muddying the waters suggestion is what Reese is getting at. I don't mean to read between the lines, but
yeah, but that's true.
because we could very easily make this account number 8, because we can't do 7, because 7 was open and closed and open and whatever.
Yes, that's right.
So,
I would prefer it,
Yeah.
a totally separate account, I would, just because.
Kemp, do you have a thought about that?
Keep it straight.
Well, if the bank, I said the 3 and 4 haven't ever been used. It doesn't seem like a problem. We could do 8, that would work too.
I would rather.
I don't think it would be a problem either, but if we wanted just to do A, I mean, it's just a number.
Yes.
Right, but my problem, like I said, my concern is 3 and 4 were opened for some reason. I mean,
They were never open, never.
Well, but I'm saying they were assigned, or whatever you want to call it, because they're sitting there. I need to know why we would just skip over a couple numbers when you're making
Well, it is kind of
accounts.
odd, yes, it is.
That's one of the oddities, okay?
But Brad's comment is that when you open an account such as this, is that they automatically assign you 1 through 6 numeric numbers. Now, why they chose to go 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, I have no idea. That's one of the reasons we've been kind of shaking our heads. So yes, but let's just do it as 8, make it easy.
Please,
Okay?
Thank you.
fine.
Item K, new computer and printer status, Jerry.
Okay. You should all have a copy of a comparison that I gave you.
Did you give me one of those?
I didn't get
It was in your box.
Well, I have to get up and.
Sorry, it's in my box.
Do you want
I'm
the
supposed to check box.
We're taking a momentary break.
Gotcha.
Only because I had something else in there that I didn't realize this
Ah,
was
it's
it.
amazing, it's in my box.
Wow.
Okay, ready.
Okay, it's cold.
All right. I think it's the third page in that packet I gave you is a comparison of computers. I did this comparison last month, and of course, vendors are always having sales. So what I tried to do was put their listed retail prices and then their, at that time, current sale price. And then just today, I went back to check if those sale prices are still current or if they have even better prices. And lo and behold, they've renewed those sale prices good until this coming Saturday. So on your list, those sale prices, at least at Staples and Office Depot, the sale prices are still good. Okay. We had a committee of myself and Steve and Lisa's husband Mark, and I sent this out to everybody, and Mark did respond back and say that his preference, based on the features, was for the HP Pavilion 500-056. He was looking primarily at the features. And we have a few different ways at looking at making a decision if we do in fact want to go with one of these computers. Or I also looked up some other sale items that are going on right now, good until Saturday, and those are the two sheets following. There's a different model of HP Pavilion, a 500 model, and there's a Dell Inspiron that follow from that. So we could look at, do we want to go with the most feature-packed item on this list? And I had some personal criteria. You can see some features are listed in bold, some in normal text, some in subscript text in the comparison chart. And the ones in bold are meeting my preferred standard or better. The normal text is what I consider minimal necessary features, and if it's in the small text, below what I consider a minimal level. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but I would prefer at least a certain minimal level. So we can consider, do we want to go, oh, I'm sorry. Also, I was considering ideally that the price of the computer would be no more than $500. So if it's over $500 on the list, then I consider that below minimal level. So do we want to consider the best features we can get for that maximum $500 level? Do we want to consider the least expensive computer with reasonable features? Or do we want some kind of mix, the best bang for our buck, in other words?
That's where I would start, is a bang for the buck. It just always is a good philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So but all these seem to be reasonably priced. The Pavilion 500 is the one that you say Mark liked the best?
The 500-056 is the one that he liked the best for the
It's on the
features.
third one.
Yes.
Gotcha. So what's this other 500 here? Is it just a lesser model of that one?
That was at Sears.
It has a slower processor, still a decent, fairly decent speed. It has comparable memory. A lot of the features are similar, except primarily the slower processor.
You have more USB ports on one Mark Line too.
4 and 4.
So is this one, the 500-056, worth the extra $100?
Well, the sale price isn't that much.
Snow price.
Well, they're both-
The sale price is $479.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
Well-
just looking at the other ones. They're $379.99, which is the least expensive one through Staples.
Right, but it has a much slower processor.
That was
And
my
it has a
question.
smaller, half the size on the hard drive. So you are losing some significant features with the gateway, but it is an all-in-one. It comes with a monitor. If we just get a standalone desktop, there would be an additional cost for a monitor.
We have a monitor, right?
We have a
that
monitor. Yeah, we could use the current monitor we have. If the old computer is going to be put away in storage and not going to be used as a second computer station, then yes, you're right, we have to use that.
But ultimately, it might be used if there was ever a need. I'm not sure whether there. What do you think about that? There being a need? No. Okay. Yeah, I just can't imagine having two stations. So,
Well,
the thought.
I could imagine it if Steve wanted all the fire department things kept on one computer, and district kinds of things like the treasurer's doing or whomever would be kept on another computer. That's one possibility.
You have a laptop that's usable now.
That's true.
And my requirements, we went over is that the recording systems I have to do are this computer handles. So whatever you guys buy is going to be more than adequate for whatever that is.
Okay.
Carol?
It's really simple to change monitors from one to the other. I do it at the office all the time. Just unplug one and plug it into the other.
Right.
So until you get another monitor, I don't think that's even an issue.
It's just the drivers. That's the only thing, is if it'll read.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind too, as soon as you buy this thing, it's obsolete.
Well, of course, just like driving a
So
new
you
car
might as
off
well
the
get the
lot.
best, the absolute best bang for the buck.
Okay.
So-
Well, if I could mention, this is an older monitor. It's the square style of monitor and a little bit smaller. If the treasurer or anybody else wants to be comparing two documents side by side, it would be nice to have a widescreen, larger monitor so that you can compare two documents.
So which one of these
Exactly.
comes with a monitor and which one doesn't?
Okay, the gateway is what's called an all-in-one. The computer is built into the monitor.
The problem with that
That's
is
kinda
if something
scary.
breaks down, it all
The whole
breaks
thing
down.
breaks down.
That's true.
So the Pavilion doesn't come with a monitor?
The
that
pavilion
correct?
is just the tower, no monitor.
Most of the computers
Monitor.
are just
How
computers.
much are monitors cost-wise?
It depends on what you want to get, but I do
Well,
want to mention, one of the other things on sale right now at Office Depot is the Dell Inspiron 660S. And that one is actually a bundle deal. It's the tower and the monitor.
How much is
And
it?
it's a 22-inch wide monitor, which
Oh, wow.
gives you great
That's-
capability for the side-by-side.
I'm going to have to sit on the other side of the room.
I have a 23-inch monitor at home because I'm often doing documents side-by-side, and it's wonderful to be able to
And
compare them
which-
side-by-side and not have to squint at small text.
And the price on that one is the $400?
The price on the package deal is a sale price right now for $399.99, which is even less expensive than the other one.
Well, this conversation's getting better and better.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not?
Because
George?
Dell uses proprietary components. You go with Dell, you only go to Dell to buy additional equipment to add into that computer.
Was that
You
right?
don't want to do that.
Yeah, that is a drawback with Dell.
Ah.
That's part of the problem.
I'm not a computer guy, so.
So
Yeah.
you have to think about that. If you need more capacity, you got to go to Dell and get a storage capacity upgrade.
How about,
You have an opinion on that, Jerry?
You know, these computers are sold at Office Depot, Staples, everywhere else. You don't have to go to Dell, you go to your vendor. And if you need some kind of an upgraded component, your vendor will be able to do it for you.
But it's still a Dell product, that's what George is saying. Is that correct?
I'm not
Yes, it
familiar
is.
with that.
Normally, if you need more RAM, Staples will have more RAM that's compatible with it. A terabyte hard drive, we gotta take years.
to fill.
Halfway up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably,
It's sort of overkill.
And I was just gonna say, is all of these are kind of overkill.
Yeah, now,
something you have to worry
the
about.
one thing is, this bundled package has 4 gigabytes of RAM memory, which is a decent amount. The other one that we were looking at, the HP, has 8 gigabytes,
Twice as much.
twice as much. Can we get by with 4 gigabytes? That's a lot of memory. It's pretty decent. This Dell is expandable up to a maximum of 8 gigabytes. The only reason I would see that we might want the 8 gigabytes of memory is if Bruce or whoever is going to be uploading the videos of the meetings and anything else to YouTube and wants to have a computer that can do it pretty quickly, yes, the 8 gigabytes of memory would be better for that.
Yeah.
But we could probably get this, you know, if we were to buy this bundle at Office Depot, we could probably get them to upgrade the memory to the 8 gigabytes at the time we buy it. And I don't know if it might cost somewhere around anywhere from $80 to $120, I would guess. I haven't priced that out, so I don't know for sure. But I'm kind of guessing. I don't know if anybody else might know.
Not a clue.
Well,
Yes, you
But we're getting the estimates, you might try the Dell website and go onto the business section, because they have some pretty good computers and pretty good prices.
Yeah.
And they're for businesses.
Usually, I know with Staples, and I think Office Depot would do it also, but with Staples, they will price match. Even with prices on Amazon, they will price match.
Staples will.
Staples will. Office Depot, I'm not positive, but I suspect that they would price match. So, you know, when I actually did look at some things, I believe it was Dell that I looked at and saw that they had the same sale prices as if it was from Office Depot, it was the same sale price.
The business section.
I
There's
did
two
not
different sections. You
specifically
have to
look,
actually
yeah,
click
I
into
did
the
not
business.
specifically look at the
Okay.
business
Can you
section.
just check? 'Cause Yvonne's pretty sharp about that kind of stuff. So just see what's on there and just to double check. So, yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying we'll postpone this for the January meeting? The decision on this, so I can check that out?
Well, we aren't there yet, and that's not my decision to make. I have a question. Staples doesn't have any HP stuff? Yeah, I noticed you just have Staples showing Dell. They didn't have an HP of any kind. I'm kind of an HP guy.
There's a sheet behind there that's an HP Pavilion 500-A60 desktop model at Staples.
Oh, this is a Staples system, right?
Yes,
The same as
and
the
it has, it's a slightly downgraded one. It's a slower processor from the one on your comparison chart.
Right, but Staples doesn't have the higher speed processor model, the dash 056 that you showed.
No, I did not see that one at Staples. Oh, no.
Office Depot. But you said
I
they
did not
price
see any.
match?
If they carry it,
If they
they would,
carry it.
yeah, anything they carry that Office Depot or Amazon or something else has, Staples would price match. As long as they carry that model.
It may not be very applicable this many years down the line, but the first computer system that I was involved with in my architectural practice was Dell. And it broke down every 3 days. And they refused to fix it on a very timely basis. When they fixed it, it broke down 3 days later. And it's left an incredibly bad taste in my mouth. Now, that was 20-some years ago, but it's still, the bad taste is still there. You just don't forget that. So, and maybe they've come a long way, but I've never had an HP product fail, in my experience.
I have.
Okay, well, see, that's why I'm bringing this up, is that, you know, I'm looking more to you and to the computer guys like Mark and, you know, anybody else that has lots of experience, because I just want the damn thing to turn on when I get to sit down in front of it. So, yeah, Bruce.
I'm on my 4th Dell, and I haven't had any problem with any of them.
I'm on my 2nd, and the city of Roseburg, Dell all the way.
Oh, cool. Well,
I'm
okay, there you
surprised
go.
after what Dell did to the city of Roseburg, but that's another story.
Well, can we just have a motion to purchase one of these, and just have Jerry then look at the best price for it that we can find?
Are you referring to a Dell?
I don't care which one.
Well, just pick one.
They're all more than we need,
Well, that's
in
the
all
problem.
reality. The only
Well,
question
can
would
we
be,
use the monitor we have though is one of my concerns.
Well,
It's like if it works.
I would suggest using it until we decide that it's inconvenient or it's a pain in the butt or whatever it so may be, and then we'll talk about purchasing another monitor. But if it works up until that point, we don't ever get to that point. We
Because
save
I
a
mean, we
couple
already
$100
have
or whatever it
that,
is.
so,
If we're not getting a bundle or all in
right,
one.
right.
Correct.
I mean, if we're gonna go with the
Yeah, if you go for the
HP,
bundle one, well, that's a whole separate deal.
Yeah.
And
I gave one away 2 years ago. It was 2 years old. Never could get it fixed or to work properly.
so go again over what the bundle one was, Jerry, real quick.
Okay, the bundle is from Office Depot. It's a Dell Inspiron. It has the Intel Core i3 processor, which is a pretty fast processor, 3.4 gigahertz. It has less memory, 4 gigabytes of memory, but it is potentially expandable to 8 gigabytes. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive. It does come, it has built into it wireless computing, which we may or may not want to use. You know, if we want to reduce the number of cables that we have running around, like if we do purchase a printer that has wireless capability, then you don't have to run a cable from the printer to the computer. You can have it transmit wirelessly.
And
So that can be a nice feature.
this is the one that you're saying would cost somewhere in the $120 range to upgrade it to the 8 gigabytes?
The memory, I'm just guessing. I don't know, Yvonne, if you would have an idea,
yeah,
or
it's about
Bruce,
$140.
or you think about 140
About that.
to upgrade?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
well
what I'm
then that
saying.
would bring it up
To
to
the
a
HP,
similar
so-
price, close to the HP, except that we would get the monitor with it.
Yeah, except I don't want
I
Sure.
know when I was buying my last computer, they said don't go under a 5. because
Don't go under an I-
these are old
or
now,
I5.
and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe
Under
the
5
HP,
gigabytes,
then-
you mean?
Yeah, the i5.
Yeah, but then if you go with an i5,
still think-
Are we referring to the I3 designation here
Mhm.
versus I5?
They're up to
This
I7
computer lingo?
now, I think.
yeah,
i3
they're up to i7, but if you go with an i5 or i7, you're increasing the cost quite a bit, quite significantly. And when I talked to the tech guy at Staples, he thought the i3 is still quite a good processor.
So are all these I3?
If they're Intel, they're i3s. If they're AMD, the A6 and the A8. The A6, I think, would be comparable to the i3. The A8, I believe, might actually, the AMD A8, I believe, might be more comparable to the i5. So that could be a plus for that HP Pavilion.
From Office Depot.
From Office Depot.
That's what
yes.
I'm leaning towards.
Mhm.
That's just me.
It would have a better processor. It has a 4-core processor. That's why I think it's more comparable to the i5.
We're talking
Intel
$480 without a monitor.
That would be without the monitor, and
But
we could get updated drivers to make sure that it's going
Sure.
that monitor is going to work. If it's not, I would donate an older 19-inch monitor that I have that would certainly be better than the one we
Okay.
have here.
All right. We're narrowing this down, folks.
Well, I'm going for the HP, I mean, because Mark and I talked about this anyway, because he didn't want to research before we talked to you.
Does
And
somebody want to make a motion?
This HP also has that Wi-Fi capability, which is
Cool.
a nice feature, and it has. They all have the media cards, so if Bruce does want to work on uploading the videos here, he just plugs his media card into it, and away it goes.
Okay.
Oh, well,
2
I make a
minutes.
motion then that we go for the HP Pavilion 500-056.
And I'll second it.
George seconds that. Any discussion? Any further discussion, question?
We already had that.
All those in favor of purchasing the Pavilion 500-056, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Deal.
Okay, I do want to point out that that sale is current right now until December 14th. It's possible they may extend it again, I don't know. But, I guess we can talk later about how to go about
And we need to talk about it now, we don't know about it later.
That's when
Okay.
you get a check. and-
How is that going to be? Who's the one to go down there and actually purchase it? Do we have an account right now?
This is
with
good
them?
through the 14th,
Through Saturday.
and then
yes.
we're at Office Depot.
Right.
We have an account at Office Depot,
We
we have
do
an
not.
account at Staples.
Okay.
So we don't have accounts, so this is a check situation.
Okay, we also have to consider a printer.
And we haven't gotten that far yet.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
So that's just a matter of finding out what the exact price is and cutting a check for that.
Okay.
Question, comment?
Should we start an account so that we can get rewards for the purchases like we do with Staples? We can get
That'd be a
rewards
good
from
idea.
Office
Alright.
Depot,
That was-
rebates, whatever. Because at Office Depot, whatever you're purchasing, you earn rebate dollars in points.
Well, as of right now, we're approved to spend $479.99. Can you look into the rewards and the opening an account?
Opening an account.
And then work that through Kent and myself?
Sure.
Just let us know what's going on,
Right.
and we'll figure out how to make that happen.
Okay.
Item L, hiring the attorney. This is still on hold, I assume. We haven't gotten any really decent referrals that we've researched yet. Yes, Jerry?
Are we, what George was saying about the printer, is that coming up later?
No, that's part of this too, if you've got something for that.
Yes.
Yes,
Fact
I-
sheet.
Oh,
I gave you a
fact sheet.
comparison sheet on the
Yeah, that's
printers
on there,
also,
too.
but we also need to consider software because if we're putting aside that other computer. That's the one that QuickBooks is on, and we only have a license for one computer for QuickBooks. So we have to consider, are we just going to purchase a second license for that version of QuickBooks, or are we going to purchase a new version or some other accounting software?
How old is the QuickBooks program?
2011.
Okay, so it's
It's only 2 years old.
that's fine then.
Yeah, it'd be a question perhaps whether they still sell 2011 or not.
I'm sorry?
They may not still sell that version.
Oh, to license a second one? Mhm.
Right, so we would have to do an
But,
update.
yeah, we might be able to get a second license that's upgraded. I don't know if that would be less expensive than just purchasing. The new version is 2014 for QuickBooks.
Okay, how about tossing this question out? Would it behoove us to put all of this off until after Susan Shepherd can take a preliminary look at what we've got going in there, and we make a decision whether to even use a new version of QuickBooks, the existing version of QuickBooks? Is that a blah, blah, blah? You understand my question or comment?
Mhm.
We put the decision on QuickBooks off, I think. That should be no problem. But whichever QuickBooks we wanted to acquire at some point, this computer would still work fine for any of it.
Right, because we'll just continue to use this one until we get the other one set up, and then there's going to be some form of a transfer across.
Yeah, it's going to
Right.
take a while to get all of this together anyway, and then decide also what programs we want to put on it, because there's, Microsoft Word is on there, Steve, I believe?
Office. It
Microsoft
has
Office, okay,
Yeah.
and is there an Excel program on there?
Yeah, through Office.
Okay, okay. Because those would all be compatible.
Those are
too.
bundled sometimes the way you buy. I'm not sure what you're getting on those.
Okay, but I do want to mention that with that old computer, the operating system is Windows XP, and starting in April of 2014, Microsoft will no longer provide security updates for Windows XP. Secondly, on that computer, the antivirus software, it had a purchase license for the AVG antivirus software. That license has expired, I just noticed today. We can always get the free version of AVG, which is quite good, actually.
Yeah, I use that.
Yeah, and if we combine that with something like the free version of Malwarebytes, those two together give pretty decent protection.
Okay, so can the software thing just be put off until January or something? Or do we need to deal with that as we purchase this computer?
If that computer is going to be put aside once we get this, Kent's going to need to be able to keep working on the books.
Well, no, but there's no date that we have to put that other computer aside. I mean, we can research this whole software issue and do it in like January or.
Okay, you lose a sale price, but that is not necessarily significant.
I'm sorry, Carol. Computers aren't my thing, so I've got to really pay
If
attention.
Jerry is willing to let us use a monitor, then we could leave the monitor on the old computer, put Jerry's monitor on the new computer, and not have this issue at all until sometime next year, because you have your QuickBooks on the old computer. You could wait until Susan has finished with what she needs to do, and both computers would be functional.
That makes sense to me. Does that make sense?
As long as nothing happens to that computer,
Well, we don't touch it.
legally or
It's
otherwise,
just-
with that computer, if nothing happens, we still have it here, it's fine. I would recommend that that computer be used offline, not connected to the computer, and we only have the new computer online with updated security.
That would work. The other suggestion, if I forgot to mention, one of the things that came out of the meeting the other day in regard to our QuickBooks here is that access to QuickBooks, Susan is suggesting specifically to be just one person. because QuickBooks, as she says here, does not have an undo key. And if someone hits a button wrong and changes something, you can't just go back to the undo button like you can in other programs and undo the oops. You have to go back and physically change everything that just got changed. And that's one of the biggest flaws in QuickBooks, quote unquote. So, before that, we need to address these issues one by one. So, go ahead.
Okay, the point is to be able to get this computer while the Christmas sale prices are on is fine.
Yes.
And we've already agreed to do that. And then that computer does not have to be hooked up or used at all until after the whole thing with Susan is done. Then
Right.
everything can switch over.
Is
I mean,
that-
we don't even have to
Is
try.
that all true, Jerry?
Well, yeah, it can sit in the box. I mean, it doesn't have to come out of the box when you buy it.
Well-
I'm just saying it's.
I think for security purposes, I would prefer that the new computer be put online right after we get it. That would be, as I said, the only computer that's connected to the internet. That would be my personal preference.
But do but we don't have to get involved with the software purchase at this time when we're not missing a deal, or
If that current computer is kept offline and that's for Kent to work on it for doing the accounting, and he doesn't have to go online with QuickBooks, that's fine.
okay,
QuickBooks can stay on that old computer.
okay. So
Ken, I wanted to ask Ken, do you have to get online to look at anything from the banks or anything when you're doing stuff?
Well, I do look at things, but like Jerry said, I don't have to look at it through QuickBooks. Just look at it through a different browser. I wouldn't have to use that computer to.
But then you'd be online. So,
With the new computer, you would be online.
no, I'm just,
Right, I
no,
wouldn't
no.
have to use the old computer.
Okay, all right.
Carol,
Making sure.
I'm gonna ask a question of Carol. All the printers are the Pro 8600, are those a pretty good printer?
The HP,
Yes.
I have an HP 8500, I have three of HP 8500, you have an HP 6500. They are excellent. And you can get the larger cartridges on for the ink, and it seems like they last forever.
You
I've
want to
got
know
an
how good
86.
HP printers are?
Hmm.
I'm still using my 4500.
No kidding.
No,
I've got an
Yeah,
86.
HP 8600, yes.
I've got
it's
an
a
86.
workhorse.
I actually have, besides HP on this list, I also have an Epson and a Brother listed for comparison purposes.
HP.
HP, I've got one too.
Yeah, both Staples and Office Depot, when I went in to look at the printers, they immediately recommended an HP. And there are two different versions. There's the Pro 8600 and the Pro 8600 Plus.
And there's
The primary difference has to do, well, a couple different main differences. But the Plus has a larger LCD screen, makes it easier to read, but even more importantly, it has a document feeder that holds more sheets, and it is faster, and the flatbed scanning handles legal-size paper.
what I'm not seeing, which I would prefer, is an HP laser.
This one, they both told me, is rated at being more cost-efficient than a laser printer.
But the colors run and smear and don't work right. Lasers, trust me, I've had an HP for, how old is a 4500? I've had it.
My 8600 I have no problems with.
I've had
Me
it
either.
12 years, 14 years, and it prints beautifully. I mean, this is the thing, it can't smear, can't get wet, can't get moist, I can't deal with
The HP
inkjets.
doesn't do that either. I've got them. I've never had a problem with
Mine
mine.
works real good. Carol has, how many do you have?
What's the difference in price?
You talking about laser or inkjet.
Yeah, I have 3 inkjet.
Inkjet.
And I have an Epson also, and I would never buy
Laser.
another
Oh, you
Epson.
have, oh, I
Laser.
don't have any problems with
Yeah,
mine.
because I've used it forever.
Yeah. The difference in price, the one that is letter size flatbed is on sale until the 14th for $149.99. It's at Staples for that price. I didn't see that model at Office Depot, but it's on sale at Staples, and we have an account with Staples so that we get the rebates on that.
Could we see if Office Depot would be interested in matching that, since we're going to open an account there, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay,
Or buying a
as I said,
computer?
I'm not sure that, I don't believe I saw this 8600 at Office Depot. Office Depot had the Plus, which is the legal size flatbed. They both have the same price on the legal size flatbed.
So this is not, this is just,
This is the sale price.
right, what I'm saying, so Office
Steve,
Depot
how
didn't
would you
have.
be-
Oh, I'm sorry. Office Depot did have
Yeah.
the 8600, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But not at the sale price. So you're saying to ask them if they would
Sure.
price match Staples?
Yeah,
Say,
right.
if you want to sell that to us today, that'd be cool. If not,
Yeah,
we'll go
they'll
down the
get the
street.
computer and the printer. Okay, but that's if we want to go just with the letter size flatbed. Or would it be important to have a legal size flatbed? Through the sheet feeder, they will both take legal size. But on the flatbed, only the plus, you know, to
We
put
don't
it down on the flatbed.
We don't really deal with legal size documents for
We
the
don't
flatbed.
deal really with legal size?
Budget.
Well, the budget is, yeah, that's right. Budget's a legal size.
Yeah, but you could put those.
You can have them print it off and pay for it, or you can,
Well,
I
again,
can run it through the feeder.
The feeder will still take it, it's just the
Yes.
flatbed we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just can't scan.
The budget
Is what
is
you're
legal
saying.
size? The budget is just side, it's just landscape instead of portrait.
But it's a legal size piece of paper.
No,
No.
no, it's just regular 8.5 by 11.
Oh, really? I thought it was,
No.
you can always do shrink to fit when you print, so
Right.
the legal
I don't
size
have
would
one.
print out
No,
on
they're just regular
letter size.
They're just landscape.
the
It's
ones
just landscape.
that I used to have were legal. I mean, before, I don't know when they switched, but they
Steve?
were always legal.
Yeah, Steve, do you ever need legal size for something, for your stuff?
well, everything I have in here is all letter size.
Yeah, that's.
If we had to do something special, I think I'd take it.
Something-
They're just.
I thought something was legal size though in the, because I remember having to fold the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
But maybe they're not doing it anymore.
So we did
Not
this
that long
on
time.
Excel
2009
landscape.
it was
That
not-
Yeah, that was,
No, not
that's
Just
long
on
time.
letter, yeah, or letter size.
but it'll
Okay.
still run through the feeder at the top, right? Legal size.
The document feeder,
You
you
just can't
can
print
put
it.
legal size inside the document feeder.
We're
What?
gonna have a piece of legal paper to copy that with.
We don't have legal size paper
But the
here.
legal size, like mine, fits any kind of size of paper. It's just got that little cool expando
Well, you
thing
have
on
to
the
buy
bottom.
a
But I mean that
box.
you're gonna copy too.
That's what I'm talking about. The copy to papers goes all the way out to legal size on mine,
You
8600.
can put legal size paper into the tray, into the paper tray.
Yeah.
And then you can put it into the legal
So does
size.
somebody want to make a motion on
Well,
this thing?
I do want to bring up one other thing that I forgot to bring up about the computer. You know, we can make a separate motion, you know, just talk about the printer now to vote on that. But then we also need to consider, do we want to purchase extended protection plans for the computer and for the printer? Because right now they only come with like a 1-year warranty.
Yeah,
2 year.
I'm not a big fan.
No, no.
It doesn't usually work. It always breaks down the day after anyway.
Which one are we talking about recently? The one from Staples or the
Office Depot. Office
Okay.
Depot to see if
I'm
they'll
I'm all
do
in
a deal.
favor of the Office Jet Pro, the 600 plus.
The legal size?
Yeah.
Do we need it?
From what I'm hearing,
But we don't.
we don't really have a lot of need to have a legal size
If
flatbed.
the budget happens to be, that's the only thing we have. And it'll go through the top feeder. And it's, what are we talking? $80 difference?
Well, they're on sale for $229.
Yeah, I know, but the legal
The other
size
one's
will
on
go
sale
through
for
the,
149.
the legal size will go through the other one anyway, if you
And that's at
want
Staples
it.
only. Office Depot, pay $199.
Well, I just think we should try to see if Office Depot will sell everything.
Will price match.
Yeah,
Yeah, see if they'll
Yeah.
do a bundle.
The other thing, if we were interested in getting the extended protection, Staples right now sells the square trade protection plan. And you just bring it right into the Staples office, and if they can't fix it in a few days, they'll just give you a new one. And they have a 2-year protection plan on the printer for $24.
Well, I've already said I'm not a fan of the extended policies. But even to add more fire or fuel to that fire, is that this thing's not going to be used much at all. I mean, this isn't going to be like it's going into somebody's daily office work.
no.
I mean, I don't know how many times Kent's going to be down here. 'Cause Kent's going to be the guy that works on it more with Steve. They're the two guys who are going to be on it the most. And it's not going to be comparable, I don't think, to any kind of office use where an extended policy might cover.
Yeah.
So, what the price is, just for curiosity, on the extended policy?
For the printer for 2
$24.
years, which,
Oh, I didn't see
yeah,
that.
you add the 2 years, these prices I put in are at Staples through Square Trade. I've had dealings with Square Trade, they are terrific. Terrific. If something goes bad, if they can't fix it, they will replace the item. That's it. And I've had that done.
Okay.
And it's done through Staples, so if we had a problem, we just take it right into Staples. The 2-year extended protection plan is on top of the 1-year manufacturer's warranty, so you get a total of 3 years protection for the $24 on the printer.
But are you just talking Staples now?
Staples is the one that has the Square Trade warranty. I didn't see anything at Office Depot about an extended warranty.
No, but we're talking about Office Depot for the computer.
Right.
And printer. They'll
What?
do both.
But if you don't want, if the board is not interested in getting the extended warranty, if Office Depot will price match on the printer, then yes, we could get them both at Office Depot.
And Office Depot doesn't offer an extended warranty?
I'm sure they do, but it's typically more expensive.
Okay. Any other discussion, comments, questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we purchase the printer,
Which printer?
the HP 8600 all-in-one, I guess.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to get the Office Pro.
I'll second.
So that's the all-in-one standard letter size? Not the
The 86 one on the
not the
left-hand
plus?
side.
It'll do legal if you,
Right.
Right, so we're talking about the far left column
yes,
item.
And
yes.
that has a feeder.
I'm
Has
sorry?
a feeder on it. Has a feeder.
It
It has
legal-
document, it has
legal
document
size
feeder, but it also does automatic 2-sided printing.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've always screwed that up. Man,
It's a really handy feature.
I have notes on my printer. This goes in this way, that goes in that way. Okay. So we have a motion before us. Did somebody second that?
I
Yes,
did.
reset it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of purchasing the H?
Question?
Oh, yes, sir.
Can we leave the motion open enough to let Jerry purchase it at either Office Depot or Staples?
Oh, sure. We could leave it.
Is I don't think our motion is specifying, or
No.
No,
it's not specifying the
no,
vendor.
No,
We're
just
going
like we're
for-
going to buy.
For this item at that special price,
Mhm.
right?
We're at the
Whichever one.
At the
$149.99.
$149.99
Right.
Correct.
Whatever one we
price.
can get.
So
Anywhere.
if Office Depot will match, then I could get it there, otherwise I could go to Staples.
Right.
There you go.
That's exactly right.
Mhm.
From where I live, Staples is, on the way from,
Yeah, they're 3 feet
Office
away.
Depot,
Yes,
so-
exactly.
it's not a problem.
That suffice, Ken?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Got it. Done deal.
Done deal.
We got a $10 rebate for Staples sitting around the desk too.
Oh geez, there we go. HP 86. Did you hear that, Jerry?
For Staples.
Just in case.
Um,
Okay.
See, I'll leave stuff like that, you know, if you have to go in and purchase supplies or things, you can use those kinds of things.
Okay,
Unless there's an expiration date coming up or something.
Okay, accounting hiring, I assume we're going to leave that on hold until
no,
after?
the attorney hiring status was we hadn't.
We did that one already. Or you want to say something about it?
I didn't think we'd gotten into it.
No, all I said is I assume it's on hold.
Yeah,
and
and
then
then we didn't
Jerry-
discuss it after that.
No.
So,
Okay, we're going back. Attorney. Is this on hold? Or do we want to pursue
That
it?
me here in Roseburg?
The attorney?
Yeah.
A local attorney, is that what you're asking? That would be, I think, beneficial. However, most of the referrals have all been out of town for fire district people. And of course, then you have Steve's comment about the fire district people haven't done very well in the past. Their track record isn't too good. So what we're really looking for is someone who has experience with a district our size, our function,
well,
etc.
are we talking about retainer that we would, or just whenever we needed them?
It would be on call whenever, no retainer.
Okay.
That's the idea.
And every person we've talked to lately, though, has not come up with a name, so are we going to widen our search?
Well, to be honest, I haven't made any second phone calls to any of the people that are referred in the past. Just
Well, the
get-
ones I got referred from like Genoa, they're in Medford. There's two that are in
Right.
Medford. And Dave Petticook knew the one I was referring to, and the guy was a judge. Now he's back in law practice.
Well, that one in Medford has been referred by like 3 different
Right,
sources.
right.
Well, if we want to pursue this, I'd be happy to make it some more phone calls.
Yeah.
We just haven't, luckily, I suppose, we haven't had the necessity for picking up the phone and calling an attorney lately.
Okay.
We've been doing pretty well with the other sources that we've had for advice. But that doesn't mean that isn't going to happen tomorrow. So
Okay.
is this something that we need consensus here as a board as to whether we want to,
So we'll table it until next meeting and
or I am happy to making those return phone calls and having some answers by the next meeting if that's what we would prefer.
okay.
So I just need to hear from all of you as to what consensus is. Jerry's nodding his
You'll
head.
make some phone calls and report back at the next
So how about if
meeting.
I'll put together and have some referrals by the January meeting, is that
Yes.
Yes.
okay with everybody?
Yep.
Kent, you're not nodding or otherwise?
It's fine.
Is that fine?
I think Kent's going to sleep.
Now, just for reference on this, are we eliminating Ken Jones's firm?
Yes.
Because we had a
Yes.
referral, well, we had the referral to the woman in there, remember?
Well, yeah, but I don't think that would work out well.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, when it's, they're usually pretty unbiased, even though they're.
Oh,
from the
she's
same
sick, so Kim Jones is gonna handle it today. No,
firm. No, that wouldn't work.
no.
Okay, so I'll check into that and I'll have an answer by our next meeting.
Thank you.
Accountant, same kind of thing?
Uh,
Want to wait until after we have this Susan deal, or?
Is there a reason we need to hire an accountant?
Not at this time, not unless we want to have someone just to ask questions of.
How do you feel about that?
Typically, probably most of your accountants will have familiarity with QuickBooks. They do full-time, they do part-time, and it's often nice to have someone that you can bounce questions off from, both legal questions and practical questions. So I'd be inclined to have one. Though I think also probably at some point, maybe necessary to have one, just to be sure that everything is correct.
Well, and to add to that too is, I think that it sounded like a pretty good deal to deal with, dare I say, Tom Davidson referred to, where they actually look over our self-evaluation review and in effect certify that that appears to be correct, and that was the $500 to $700 fee. That seems well worth the money.
Yeah, that is reasonable.
Well, I think we need really to ask the question what the scope of that purchase gets us. You know, if their assurance may be illusory rather than.
Yeah. They flip through 3 or 4 pieces of paper and send you a bill for $550.
Yeah, it may not be worth that.
Yeah, it might not be.
But we can cross that bridge later, I think.
So we're putting this on hold.
I'd say table it from there.
Everybody agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yep.
Okay. Board members firefighter meeting report. I'll jump out and just start. I thought that the meeting went well. We had a meeting with the firefighters. Jerry and I attended. It was very quiet, very respectful. I thought that it was a good first step in it. I explained the position of the board, the fact that this is a team, the fact that the team includes the constituency, taxpayers, the board, and the firefighters, and if any component of that team doesn't work well, this whole district doesn't work well. Jerry, you can talk about what you talked about, but I thought that it was a pretty good first effort. The only question that was fielded to us from the people in the audience, and do you know how many were there, Steve? Like 13, 12?
I think we had 12 or 13.
Yeah, it was a good turnout, and frankly, there was some pretty decent nodding when I'm, not nodding off, but nodding out in the audience. But we didn't get any questions really, except that the firefighters had a bit of a problem with the fact that I had put a black plastic bag over the fire hydrant memorial deal. We had received a warning on that to get something done about it, so I just took it upon myself one day to eliminate that concern. I put a black plastic bag over the red hydrant because it is a non-functioning hydrant. Took caution tape, wrapped it around, and Tom Johnson brought that up and said that that wasn't the appropriate thing to do, et cetera, et cetera. I apologized if I made anybody mad. There was no disrespect intended, but it was the fire marshal, which I had forgotten it was actually the fire marshal. But I really wasn't concerned about what was really happening as far as getting us fined or somebody getting pissed off or what. There was a true situation that if somebody was dumb enough, frankly, to stop and try and use that fire hydrant and become late to a fire or an emergency, that we could be held liable for that. And that just seemed like a reasonable response. I answered it pretty much in that way. I may be paraphrasing somewhat. And that was really the only question that we had from the audience. And then Jerry did a heck of a job explaining, so you give a couple minutes on what you did.
Okay, well, first I would just like to preface by saying I'd like to thank Steve. He did a terrific job introducing us and trying to set the stage for a good working relationship. So thank you for that, Steve. I introduced myself as a new board member. They wanted to know something about my background, so I talked about where I've lived, what I've done, how I'm retired now. I love small towns, even though I was born in a big city. So some of the people afterwards, as I was leaving, make comments about. I said how I had lived in a small town in Idaho. One person said, "Oh, I went to school at Boise State," and somebody else made a comment. I know somebody who lives up in Oregon. So they made a connection to me, and I really appreciated that, Steve, that they made the effort to do that.
And it's already panned out, I think, too. The extended stuff on the website and stuff has panned out a little bit. The communication's been more open, I think.
I think it was a I think it was a great first step. We've got to make that effort. This has got to happen. We've got to become a team, and we've got to do those kinds of things. And on that line, I was curious as to who's going tomorrow night. We have 2 members who are supposed to go tomorrow night, and it isn't Jerry and I.
Risa, do you want to go with me?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. Get it out of our neck.
Yeah.
Steve, have you
We
had
don't
any
jump out there
feedback?
so quickly and eliminate Kent. I don't want Kent to feel like he was.
Well, we can't.
Can't all 3 go.
No.
Oh,
So,
yes, we
what-
can.
You can as long as one of you goes to the bathroom in between.
192, 660.
The casual
2
meal, yeah,
F.
that's right. That's
Why
right.
can't we do, one of us can go with Kent next time?
Well, next time we'll just do 2 different people, but I just want to make sure that Kent had any rampant desire there that he might have to cross straws.
Well, I didn't mind Maricopa to Reese because it's the one I screwed up.
Ah, okay,
You
okay.
forgot.
So is that all right with you, Kent?
Fine.
That these guys go?
Fine.
Okay. Okay, Chief's report?
Yvonne asked me a question.
Oh,
The feedback I have so far is, first of all, everybody want to know why they're coming. But I mean, the communication, like we've been talking about, it has to happen. And we have to be courteous and respectful of each other. And the fact is, this board was elected by the people in our district, and that's what it's going to do. And it can't keep going like it was, and I think they realize that now. And we had a fair chance to express what they were trying to do and why. So that worked out good, and I didn't get anything negative afterwards or anything. I'm not expecting them to come out and say they love me either. It's not going to happen. But we didn't get anything negative, and it was not any worse than it was before, and I think it's better.
Okay.
And I think it'll keep getting that way, I hope. That Chief's report, I gotta go fast, huh? We
Go
did
slow
a
as you
mass
like.
casualty drill tomorrow night. We canceled it because I don't want, we canceled it a few days back because I don't want people laying out there, and it's supposed to be 32 again tomorrow night. And our victims would be kids and explorers and stuff. However, we are gonna have the cars and stuff that we were using to cut up, so we're gonna just incorporate a regular drill at 7 o'clock, minus 20 minutes or so that you guys want to play and talk and communicate. And you can be involved in it if you want, using some of our tools on the car and doing some heavy lifting with objects and that stuff.
that sounds cool.
We're gonna plan this drill later. We had some ambulances come and everything else. We kinda did a quick turnaround, just, the weather's not cooperating. If it would've been the 40s, we don't cancel drills very much or anything like that. If it's raining, we do it anyway. But I'd like it to be in the 40s at least, if we want to go out to it.
It's gonna be freezing rain, so that would be really fun.
We did the Veterans Day Parade. I can't remember if that was before the last meeting. That was before the last meeting.
Yes.
We talked about the grant. Vehicle, just to let you know, I'm not sure what's going on about the rest of the equipment replacement grant. We have a demo running around of a type of wildland vehicle with 500 gallons of water in it and a crew cab that's going to be coming in the next week. Cascade Fire Equipment's driving it. I told Bob about it, and they're going to try to bring it out here next week just to look at. And something that we've been looking at because we want to, when we talk about the policy of equipment replacement, we're looking for more water on a four-wheel drive vehicle to get to some of these places we can't get. So,
I'd like to see that thing. That'd be cool.
and DFN, Douglas Fastnet, I talked to Mr. Todd Way, the general manager, last night. He referred me to a salesman today to hopefully get free phone service here and cut Conspan out of the deal. So which would save us about $60 a month since they already have their stuff in our building here.
Yeah.
And he called me today while we were in the meeting, and he was gone by the time we got out. But I'm still working on that. So.
Oh, cool. Good.
I'll say